Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Let's check out what's going on in Green Metaverse token. Now, before we jump into Green Metaverse token, I just covered Green Satoshi token. Obviously these two cryptos are tied and they're showing very similar charts right now. Green Satoshi token we just covered, and this is being beat down to its utmost lowest level of support before you break down into the initial accumulation range. Why am I bringing this up? Because what is Green Metaverse token doing? We're currently sitting in this huge support box, which looks like it wants to flip into a resistance box. Hopefully it doesn't, but let me talk about what I see in the market and we'll build up to what we've got going on right now. So this big huge rectangle box on the upper portion of the screen, you can see we've just connected the most basic accumulation range dots. I've ignored the fact that it's broken out euphoric here because I'm really interested in this time that we spent just chopping and accumulating in a very tight range before we broke very bullish. And this is the zone where we're kind of sitting in right now. You can see connecting the lows of all these wicks, we have this data range and we're literally sitting on it right now. This is a very important moment in time for Green Metaverse token, because if we do keep on breaking down from the levels that we're at right now, then there's really not a lot of support down below us. I even removed basically all the drawings I had based on the previous Green Metaverse token video, and it's simply because, you know, we had this huge bullish run up, we had all these fibs, all these all of these support trend lines and stuff, and now we've flipped into this 4-hourly bearish phase. We've recently invalidated like almost everything apart from, you know, these accumulation ranges to the downside, and also technically your 786 Fibonacci. If we do draw it from this low, I much prefer drawing it from this low than drawing it from when it minted, because I feel like it minted, it went up, accumulated, and then this is when we really started these bull cycles. At least this is my opinion, and it does seem like, at least so far, we're somewhat respecting these Fibonacci's, because we're bouncing between the 618 and the 786 right now, and we're finding a huge level of resistance coming into this 618 Fibonacci and the bottom of this accumulation range. Let me mark this red as resistance, because this is once again going to be a huge area that Green Metaverse token, in my opinion, will probably struggle getting above. Now, saying that, Bitcoin has a head and shoulders pattern playing out on the chart right now, and it almost seems like it does want to break up into some higher and it almost seems like it wants to break up into some higher price targets. That is the short term though. You come over to the higher time frames, and really Bitcoin, in my opinion, is not safe whatsoever until we pump very hard and very decisively above $34,000. Until that happens, in my opinion, we're still in a very bearish stance. And you know, you zoom out to the 4-hourly EMA ribbons, and it's not out of the question to see that we are very bearish, and it's not impossible for us to come up and take out these EMA ribbons. In fact, I would not be surprised if Bitcoin did something like this, you know, and then came back down to fill 29,000. It's completely possible. So Bitcoin, it might be setting up for a bullish week, it might be setting up for a bounce. I've even highlighted the theory that, you know, Bitcoin has only ever had 5 bearish weeks in its entire existence, and at this moment in time we're putting in 7 bearish weeks. Obviously it's only Tuesday, we haven't got a ton of data traded, but either way we've got 6 bearish weeks in a row. What does this mean for GMT? Well, GMT is a move to earn crypto, and it, in my opinion, purely functions based on hype, and people have already left a lot of hype on GMT, and a lot of people are already moving into FitFi. And as FitFi is breaking down, I'm seeing hype leave FitFi, and people are talking about GAL, and this is like an endless cycle with these cryptos that don't necessarily have the greatest fundamentals. They have pumpamentals and Ponzinomics, which are what keep them afloat. But nonetheless, looking at this, not from an emotional perspective, not bringing my opinion into the market, I don't dislike Green Metaverse token. I just disagree with the fact that I disagree that it would be around for a prolonged period of time. I think these move to earns are here to come, and they're here to go. They're here for a short time, not a long time. And you can also say they're here for a good time, not a long time as well, whichever one you want to say, and it seems like GMT has already had its good time. So at least for me, I like to buy breakouts, I like to buy trend shifts where I feel like I'm going to be getting into a great trade or a great trade setup, buying in before we have a momentum shift. And at this moment in time, I do not see that playing out. We've still got bearish accumulation heading down on the squeeze momentum indicator. There is buying volume holding this up, a tiny bit of buying volume holding this up, but bear in mind, we're going to need a lot more than, you know, a dead cat bounce doji candle showing indecision in the market if we want to get out of this bearish trend. Bear in mind as well, zooming out to the daily, this was your super trend line. We broke down from it yesterday and we broke up to it today. So 220, 225, this is going to be a huge level for Green Metaverse token to take out. Until we do take it out, I would really be very cautious, because the longer we hang around these levels, the quicker these EMA ribbons are going to converge down. And at some point, if we keep chopping to the side, these EMA ribbons are going to have an explosive move to the upside or the downside. I want to make sure that I'm going to be getting in and preparing for both situations. So I'm just highlighting this to you. I don't think now is the right time to make a trade. I don't think now is the right time to short. I definitely don't think now is the right time to buy, especially after we're putting in a bearish engulfing candle. We've come up and retested the trend line, we've retested the daily EMA ribbons, we've retested this accumulation range, and we've broken down in the smaller time frame. So does this mean that we can't break bullish? It absolutely doesn't. It just means that I would personally be sitting on the sidelines. My money is where my mouth is. I'm accumulating Bitcoin at this moment in time. As the altcoins and the crypto market drops, it could get a lot more ugly. Bear in mind, I know you probably don't care about this, because I imagine people who watch my move to earn videos could not care less about the stock market. But the fact of the matter is, the stock market is still very bearish. We might be up a tiny bit on the day for some of these, but the fact of the matter is, pretty much everything is getting beat down right now. I mean, Coinbase is down 8% as of the time of recording this, dumping into its earnings report. So we definitely need to be very cautious about how we approach trades on these move to earns. And for me specifically, sitting on the sidelines at this moment in time makes the most amount of sense. That is really all I see. Best of luck if you are in GMT. Best of luck if you're looking to get in a trade. I will be updating you when I do think we're bullish, when I do think the next momentum shift is going to be in town. But it was only 7 days ago where we had the EMA ribbons flip bearish, and very easily, like, let me just wrap up this video on this, we were able to make such a profitable trade riding Green Metaverse token from, was it down here or down here? It's been a very long time since my first Green Metaverse token. Let's just say we were here somewhere. So we managed to ride GMT for this crazy journey. I literally only took profits at like $3.50 as it flipped bearish on the EMA ribbons. But previously, this whole uptrend was perfectly supported by these 4-hourly EMAs. This is how we were able to make such great calls and make a decent amount of money on Green Metaverse token in our community. Now, how are we going to do it to the downside? Because these 4-hourly EMAs were a perfect indicator of when we were bullish. And on the flip side, once we broke below them, once we retested them as resistance and then broke down and they flipped bearish, we knew that until they flipped back bullish, there is nothing to get out of bed for. That is my opinion. You can clearly see the downtrend has now been flipped, and we're perfectly supported to the downside by these 4-hourly EMA ribbons. I could definitely think a flush out to the 786, which is at $1.50, could be underway before GMT reverses. Now, does that mean that GMT can't reverse today? It can't reverse tomorrow? No, it absolutely does not. It just means that in my trading plan, the risk to reward of trying to catch a knife is not worth me potentially losing a finger over catching the falling knife. So best of luck if you plan on buying the dip. I'm really sitting on the sidelines. Like I said, we were perfectly able to time exiting the market at $3.50. Sure, we didn't catch the exact top at $4.20, but we rode this all the way down here from like 30 or 40 cent all the way up to almost $4. Almost $4, because we were patient. We looked at the EMAs. We kept the emotions out of this. We looked at it robotically, we looked at it mathematically, and the trend was defined by these moving averages. Now the trend is defined to the downside by these moving averages. I do not plan on trying to outperform the market and trying to assume I know better than the market by catching a falling knife when it is plummeting like a rock. Be very careful on GMT right now, be very careful on GST right now, and more specifically, be very careful trading move to earns while Bitcoin still has a very important macro decision to make. That is all I've got for GMT. Hope you found value in this. As always, cowboy out, not financial advice, and most importantly, peace.